Hey guys, sorry my hair's still wet, but I haven't really got a chance to get on here and say how very blessed that we feel that each and every one of y'all have just went above and beyond. And I know all of you love my daddy like we do, and we're gonna miss him. So, sorry. Um, I know that Daddy would have not wanted tears, so I'm trying here. um, I want to say today the love that I've received, my mom, for Joseph Strong, my husband, people have come out of the woodwork. People I haven't talked to in a long time that I didn't even have their phone number anymore, that have reached out, and it means so much. I want to say I still have so many messages that I have not answered. If I've not texted you back or messaged you back, I'm so sorry. A lot of people even call Michael because I have so many that it's just been really hard, Tomorrow morning we do go to the funeral home to, get all the arrangements. So far, we're pretty much thinking, I don't want to tell you 100%, but we're thinking that Sunday is going to be the viewing at Miles Odom, and Monday is going to be the funeral at 11 o'clock. He will be buried at Piney Grove. A lot of people are asking me why he's not being buried at the big cemetery, because that's where my papa and grandma, but my daddy was the swamp, and that's what he wanted. And so whatever my daddy wanted, that's what he is getting. And he wanted to be buried with the Thrift, so our family cemetery is Piney Grove. So like I said, my mama and me and Michael were giving him what he wanted. It was very hard. A lot of people ask us. We love Music Funeral Home as much as we love Miles. Music had my grandma, and now my dad will go to Miles. We try to, I know this sounds crazy and people look at us like we're crazy, but my dad loved everybody. He loved music just as much as he did Miles. So, since grandma went there, we're trying to do things. Sometimes we just wish they could work together, but people have to have more than one funeral home. So it's just, but I want everybody to know that he loved them just as much. He thought the world of the musics. There's going to be a lot of decisions tomorrow. I've got a lot that I've been asked to do, and I am going to help do the obituary, and I'm going to be writing a lot for his funeral, but my mom made the decision for me that I could not stand up there and do it. I've done these types of things before with kin people, just like my daddy did, but eulogies are something that my dad was very good at. He only broke down at one, and that was Michael Brantley's, and he always held it together, and I can hold it together for a lot. But guys, I'm just going to be straight up. There's no way in the world that I can stand up there and give my dad's eulogy. I'm doing really good right now, but y'all all know I was daddy's little girl, and he was my hero. So there's no way I can do that, okay? But I am going to write one. That's what I'm working on right now. And it's hard, but I mean, who can put his life in a couple words? One of the last things he said to me was, it was my turn now. That I was his blood. He had to always throw up to my mom that I was A negative like him, and that I looked just like him, and that I could write like him. I was smart like him. But he said it was my turn now to shine. And, my dad was always in the public eye, but he never left the swamp. That's something that he chose not to do. We used to kid my daddy all the time and tell him, man, Daddy, you could have been a millionaire. I mean, the stories and the writing, the smarts he had. Everybody knew who he was, but he loved everybody. It could be a mass murderer, and my daddy would have said, you know what? He's the devil. He's got the devil in him. And he would always say, I'd say, but Daddy, he killed all these people. And he's like, well, he's a dog. He ain't got no sense. But you know what? My daddy still pray for the man. I realized that I had a lot of my daddy, I think, in me when he was hurt like he was. The faith that I had, that was my dad. I mean, my mama has faith, but she don't talk about it, and I don't talk about it as much. But I realized with my faith that night or that day in that hospital that I was my daddy's child 110%. And, I'll never forget, he was waiting on me at the door, and he didn't know I was coming home. It was the third day Joseph was in the hospital. I looked at Michael. I said, take me to my daddy. When they were bullying me at the hospital, and, other people were bullying me and telling me it was time and I was going to do this, and I said, no, I'm not. And he was waiting on me, and I opened the door, and he was standing there, and he said, you're doing the right thing. He's going to live. It's not his time. And this is how a lot of people thought that my daddy would overcome this, and I knew he wouldn't, because the last day that I was in there with him and actually talked to him, he told me it was time to go home. See, 12 years ago, when my dad had his 13 years ago, he had a massive heart attack. And I'll never forget my mom and my aunt, his sister, they were bawling their eyes out. And, my mama pulled me in when I got to Mayo, and she said, listen, I know you're hurting, but Tatum, you need to, understand he's got all this fluid buildup. He's also got, congestive heart failure, and they can't even operate. It's going to be a week to get all the fluid off of him and get the blood thinners out of him. She said, he's not going to make it. Well, when I went in there, he told me to my face, he said, your mama and your Aunt Elizabeth, they're not going to listen to me when I tell them this. Now, yes, they believe in God and they got faith, but I need you to hear me, baby. And I said, yes, sir. He said, it's not my time to go. I'm not going to die. I never cried another tear because my daddy told me it was not his time. That man had more faith. And I have a lot of faith, but that man had faith in people that I could never see in people. He tried to see the good in everybody. And I do. Y'all know I do. But I have that part of me where I've been hurt and done wrong. And, I can actually talk about this right now, and I think I need to tell some of this because I want to say some of it by myself, because so many people knows I can't get up there at the funeral and do it, But about 2 nights before he got put in the hospital this last time, my daddy knew something. He did. And that's why he pitched a fit to come home early from Mayo, because my daddy knew it was about his time. And he called me into the kitchen, and everybody was asleep. He said, I need to talk to you, Tatum. And he looked at me. He said, look at me when I'm talking to you. And he said, I'm not going to always be here. And then he told me, he says, that man you got, he said, he is the perfect son-in-law I could have ever picked for you. He said, Michael is the one. He has always been the one for you. He said, I wish you would have stayed with him, but then I wouldn't have had Joseph, He said, but God brought y'all back together. He said, and he is the man for you. He said, look at me when I talk to you. He said, don't be so cold, Tatum. He said, that ice queen, he said, don't be like that. You show him how much you love him. You tell him all the time. You hug him. He said, because let me tell you something. When that man looks in your eyes, he said, he looks at you the way I look at your mama. He said, 52 years with the same woman. He said, we never separated. We never left each other's side. And Michael said, I never seen your mama cry until your daddy, when she knew he was dying. And I told him, I said, and people don't see me cry, hardly ever. Y'all see me break down and get mad when I'm talking about Joseph, and I cry, but it's more of a mad cry. But people's going to see me, and I'm going to open up because I can't hold it back. When it's your dad, when it's this person that has waited 11 years for you to be born, and you look just like him, and you're daddy's girl. There's no way that I couldn't cry. Because I'm happy he's not suffering no more. But, part of me is selfish because that's my daddy. And everywhere I went today, I went a couple places, people's come over and they've all said the same thing. He told Michael the other night when he was starting to lose his mind, and, it came back. It does that before, it happens. He said, she's the apple of my eye. And I kind of had to walk out because Michael knew that I was fixing to break. And I will tell y'all something. My husband is my rock. Because that man has seen me. He knows when I'm fixing to cry. He knows what I'm thinking before I'm thinking it. And he's like had a tissue ready, and I'll just look at him. He says, it's okay, baby. It's okay. It's me. It's okay. He's like, you being weak, he said, does not make you weak. He said, you're one of the strongest people I know. And now everybody's saying that, like, the reason people are asking is my daddy, one of the things he said was it was my turn. It was my turn. Like I told y'all, he could have been a millionaire. And he just didn't. And I mean, I told him, I said, Daddy, I can't fill your shoes. There's no way. I mean, y'all know I am smart. And I can talk. And I can write. And I told him, I said, I can't finish my book. I need you to help me. He said, no, you don't. He said, you can write a book just like me. He said, just as good, if not better. Because I told him, I said, Daddy, I'll do my best, but I could never fill your shoes. There is nobody that I know that could fill this man's shoes. He was special. He was always happy. And he loved. I love Michael the way he loves Mama, but I don't show it as much. But I am going to try, because my daddy's right. It's okay to love somebody like that. I want to also thank Unedited Real Talk, Chad and Kimmy. Thank y'all so much for coming out here. Y'all was so right. Chad told me, he said when he was doing the stories, you know, the old Swamper, and we made his page. If you haven't followed the old Swamper, y'all need to follow that page. I'm going to keep his page up. I want to keep his memory alive. And I've got a lot of videos I'm going to get put on, you know, the computer and stuff, so I can upload them so y'all can see the stuff that my daddy did that people didn't even know about. He was interviewed by several news stations. He was the man that wrote the Blair Witch Project, the actual man that wrote it, not the one that put it out. He got sued because it wasn't his manuscript. He come and talked to my daddy about the Wilds Massacre, about getting my daddy's play. That's something that I want to do. I want to present his play. There is so many people that need to see the stuff that he never got out. He was writing another book he didn't finish. But if I could finish it, I would. But I'll try. But Unedited, Chad and Kimmy, thank y'all so much, because Chad, you were so right, like I just said a minute ago. You said he's not going to always be here, and the stories need to be here so people can listen. This man could tell a story. I'm also going to print a bunch of his books again. I want to get them out there. Daddy didn't care about that. He didn't care. I told him all the time, Daddy, you need to get your books out there. You know, people know about them and buy them around here, but there would be people all over the world that would buy his, like the Tales of the Okefenokee, the stories he told. And his first children's book, Oscar Saves Christmas, it was dedicated to Joseph. You know, it was Oscar the alligator that died at the Swamp Park, and then the new alligator was named Luther. I mean, my daddy has done so much. The Sons of Confederate Veterans, him and, I'm having a brain fart right now, but him and one other man started this chapter of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. He come to my daddy, and they started it. It was Judge Ben Smith, him, and then his sons and my dad, you know, and their friends. They started it, and you know, he's done so much, guys. The Oxford Society, I mean, just so much. And a lot of people don't know this. My daddy was 6 years in the National Guard. You know, they give him a military thing at the hospice house, and my mom was shocked. And I mean, he's just done so much. And a man. He was known for his Tennessee walking horses. He was known, you know, it was so funny one day because a man told me, he said, I know that we're getting quarter horses, but if you went to a Tennessee walking horse show and you seen Luther, you might as well pack your horse up and go to the house, because he's going to have the most prettiest, the best horse out there. And that was another thing he asked me, guys. The 10 minutes he wanted by himself with me. He said, I love the quarter horse fancy that you bought for Michael. He said, but please promise me you'll get yourself a Tennessee Walker. And I told him, I said, Daddy don't ever be a Cavalier. He said, I'm going to get to see Cavalier again. So I wouldn't be surprised if Daddy's up there in heaven right now with his daddy and my granny and all his cousins and all, and riding them Tennessee walking horses. So, I mean, I'm jealous because I know they're in a better place than he is. But I'm going to miss him. And my husband noticed I went to the barn today, and I stayed almost all day at the barn. But that was me and Daddy's thing, you know. So I have all them animals, and Tucker, Daddy's goat, and him and Joseph's goat. He normally loves on me, you know, all of them do. But like the past 2 days, especially today, he has followed me around. He's nudged me just like he used to do Daddy. And I told Michael, I said, it's amazing how animals know. And they do know. I don't care what nobody says. Animals are very smart. So, but I just want to thank you all so much for checking on us and I will let you guys know the arrangements after tomorrow, exactly when we get them, what times. But I am putting a video tribute for my dad, and I'm going to try the best I can. But I just want everybody to know that I will never fill my daddy's shoes, ever. There's only one Luther Thrift, and there'll only always be one Luther Thrift. He was the best dad that I could have ever asked for. I'm one lucky girl to have my parents together for 52 years, and my 41 years of life they've been together, and they have just been the best that I could ever ask for. So, but my daddy was one of a kind, and I will miss him every day, and I will cherish the memories, and so many memories that I have of him. So in my whole life, I don't think I'll ever stop remembering memories, and I think each and everybody that knew him has a memory. I know he touched each and everybody he met's life in some way. So, but no, he loved everybody, and if you were bad or if you didn't like him, I'm just be honest with you, you're not human. You're the devil incarnate. Because if you couldn't love Luther, like me and Mama used to say, there's probably a reason if you don't like us, but my daddy, a snake itself, I think, might not strike him. I mean, he is the closest thing to a saint that I've ever met. And I will love him and cherish him always. So just pray for us, and pray for Joseph. He's hurt, and he loved his papa, and they had a bond, and and my mom, she hurt. She's like me. She tries to hold it, but she hurts. So just know that Daddy, you're loved, and you'll live in our hearts forever. So at 4:55 yesterday morning, he passed, but his memories and in our hearts and our minds, and everybody who knew him will never forget him. And I won't let his memory die ever. So always know that I was named after my papa, his daddy Tatum, but I look like my daddy, and I'm proud. I must have done all right though, because I won a lot of beauty pageants looking like my daddy. People used to tell me he's the cutest little man I've ever seen. I remember Tony used to say that all the time. But I need to get off here. I got to finish writing a eulogy and obituary, but thank God my aunt's helping me. But I love you guys, and thanks for loving us and loving my daddy. So love you all.